CTV Calgary, local breaking news.
Good afternoon. Premier Danielle Smith is calling for Alberta to have more input into judicial appointments, and she's threatening to withhold funding unless Alberta has more say. Right now, there are 3 vacancies on Alberta's Court of King's bench. Smith wants to create a new committee with half the appointees from Alberta to vet justices. She says the appointments would help reflect Alberta's distinct legal traditions. The federal justice minister responded to the idea this morning.
It's essential that we have a judiciary who's able to make decisions without fear or favor amongst those who have the power to appoint or, in theory, remove a judge from the bench. When you start to look at how you can protect that independence, certainly ensuring that there's not political threats about the resources that are going to be made available to them to do their jobs as part of it. But another part is actually have integrity in the appointment process to begin with.
Smith is also calling for bilingualism requirements to be relaxed for federal appointees. The UCP government is warning Albertans the next budget will be a tough one. The budget will be delivered on February 26th. In a news release, Finance Minister Nate Horner says lower than anticipated oil prices, global uncertainty, and a growing population are putting a strain on Alberta's finances. In the province's fiscal update in November, the deficit was at $6.4 billion. A plan to add doctors to emergency rooms to help triage patients has been delayed. Hospitals Minister Matt Jones announced the rule last month. It came after the death of a man who waited hours for care at the Grey Nuns emergency room in Edmonton. The program was supposed to start over the weekend. The head of the Alberta Medical Association says doctors want to participate, but there are issues to be worked out, including pay, billing, liability, and paperwork. A spokesperson for the minister says they continue to work with the AMA and recruitment for the role is ongoing. Calgary officials have unveiled a 27-point plan to make sure the city's water supply is reliable and healthy. An independent review of the city's water infrastructure calls for new leadership structures, better planning, and will see work next year to possibly transition to a municipal water corporation. Construction crews are already working on a parallel line next to the troubled Bears Paw feeder main. We still don't know how much it will cost.
Council's always going to have top of mind ratepayers, whether it be a tax rate or a water usage rate as top of mind. We need to address these concerns.
We're going to be as proactive as possible with Calgarians to share the good, the bad, the ugly, everything that entails to be able to catch up. And there's going to be significant cost savings we can enjoy as well. We know that we pay one way or another.
Council is being asked to approve $53 million for planning work and to top up the water sustainment reserve. The new pipe is expected to show up in Calgary soon. Fire has damaged a townhouse on Centre Street North. It started around 10:30 last night in the 3700 block. Firefighters were able to prevent the flames from spreading to neighboring units. A resident says it appears the fire started in the kitchen. Heavy damage is visible on both the main floor and the upper level of the unit. Nobody was injured. Parks Canada is looking for feedback on ways to manage overcrowding in the Lake Louise area. Following a survey in the summer of 2025, Parks Canada is now asking for input on suggestions to improve the visitor experience. Ideas being considered are a parking reservation system, parking time limits, or a summertime ban on personal vehicles on Lake Louise Drive. Banff Town Council has also said it's been working with Parks Canada to address long-term congestion. You can participate in several surveys at letstalkmountainparks.ca. Researchers at the University of Calgary are using artificial intelligence to target a disease that affects fish. Whirling disease is caused by a microscopic parasite and can have a devastating impact on fish populations. Kevin Fleming reports.
He's looking at a map of the Oldman River Basin. Alberta Environment and Parks came to Paria Ramazi in 2018 for help detecting whirling disease here.
So at that time they had I guess less than 100 sample points because they need to send crew, they need to take samples, they need to take it to the to the labs or universities to test whether actually the parasite exists there or not. So it's very costly, and you cannot do that for everywhere around the watershed.
Ramazi and a team of researchers from India, Iran, and the universities of Victoria and Alberta worked together to come up with an artificial intelligence model to track the presence or absence of the aquatic disease.
AI models are typically very data demanding. So for example, for face recognition, some of the models are run with like millions of faces. Now here we're talking about 100 samples only out of 100,000, so it's less than 0.01% or so.
Whirling disease was first discovered in Johnson Lake, northeast of the Banff town site in 2016. Parks Canada lowered the water level and used gill nets to catch all the fish to prevent the spread. Russell Greiner wasn't confident the team could come up with an AI solution with so little data, but it was able to make surprisingly accurate predictions.
What this analysis told us was just describing where it is right now, and maybe some degree of forecasting where it'll be tomorrow. That doesn't say anything by itself about how to prevent it or how to address it.
Researchers say this was a one-off study, but could have a wider use.
That can hugely impact the economy, the recreational fishery, and so on. Not just whirling disease, it can be, if the right data is given, it can work as an early warning signal for other diseases as well.
Ramazi says the AI model could become a valuable tool for watershed managers around the world. Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Calgary.
Canadian athletes are being honored at the Calgary International Airport. A new exhibit, the 70 Years of the Order of Sport, celebrates Canada's most admirable sports legends. Items from Cindy Clausen and dozens of others will be on display. The unveiling takes place this afternoon at the domestic arrivals area between doors 4 and 5. Thanks for joining us. We'll have more on the top stories coming up on CTV News at 5 and 6 or anytime online at ctvnewscalgary.ca.